to Rev Shots, your weekly dose of quick hit wisdom, where we tackle the most pressing topics of the day for ourselves and our revenue teams. Our show features expert guests with decades of experience. We delve into what works and why, sharing tools to be unapologetically successful, from making our number to delighting our clients. If you're ready to boost your knowledge in under 30 minutes on a weekly basis, tune in. Follow me on LinkedIn or join our mailing list to stay updated on our latest features. Good morning and happy Friday to everybody. If you celebrate Easter across any religion, happy Good Friday to you. And we wish everybody a wonderful Easter weekend. For those of you that are experiencing some of the crazy weather across our beautiful country, our thoughts and prayers are definitely with you. I'm Dion Major, your host of Rev Shots, and we are on episode 62. And man, I am so excited for this episode. I love what we're going to talk about. You have got a powerhouse of individuals here that can help you navigate the very topic they're hearing about and what to do about it. As you all know, Rev Shots is the show for leaders, B2B leaders. Predominantly, that's who we're addressing and talking about, giving you a library of resources to build your toolkit to be unapologetically successful, because let's face it, it's certainly not getting any easier out there. So thank you for joining. Those of you, I normally wear red, but it's Autism Awareness Month. Everybody knows my son's on the spectrum. He's doing amazing. I think it pays to be kind just in general, regardless if you have a diagnosis or not. So that's what we want to talk about. So we're going to hop into some introductions today. And again, I'm so grateful for these ladies joining us today. It's going to be pretty amazing. Merilee, thank you for joining today. You and I crossed paths through Shannon Gregg, who is in her own right a powerhouse and doing amazing things. And you and I had a conversation prior to you joining. You were also a speaker in our H2H Human to Human Connections Done Right Summit. And your conversation, that little nugget you gave of having important versus difficult conversations, just blew my mind and changed my world. So I'm so happy you're here. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Dion. And I am so excited to be here. And I'm so excited that we're connected. Hi, everyone. I'm Merilee Smith, founder of Spark with Merilee. And I am incredibly passionate about sparking people off of autopilot, specifically empowering high-achieving women business owners, leaders, teams, just to be able to develop the emotional agility, confidence, and inner peace so that we all can boldly live our most vibrant life with purpose and intention while navigating the messiness and stress of it all, because we know that's real.
Life is messy. Yes. Merilee, thank you for being here. I'm so happy. Amy, thank you for joining us today from Maine.
Hey, yes, thank you from Maine. And thanks for having me. This is so exciting. I love the fact that this show is about quick hits of wisdom, because that's what AHA is all about. So my name is Amy Hooper Hanna, and I'm the Chief Everything Officer, really, of Amy Hooper Hanna and Associates, which is AHA, lighting up leaders with wisdom that works.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So it just worked out. How about that for an acronym, right? So I focus on high performance communication, high performance interpersonal communication with leaders. Yeah. So through coaching and through creative engagements, workshops, trainings, etc. I teach leaders how to communicate in ways that matter most. Yeah. And I'm often called a leadership therapist. I heard you mention that at another time. And that's because, it gets real. Communication's what it's all about. So keep it real. Yeah.
I love that, Amy. So on a quick note, when I do a workshop of ambiguous to agile for leaders. And part of that is our 10 irrefutable laws of leading successfully. 3 of the 10, spoiler alert, are communicate and collaborate, because we're typically really bad at it, myself included. Right. So
yes. Yeah, that's definitely, Merilee's passion is we're all connected, all of us on here. Obviously, we're all on here together, but the whole idea that it really communication is just such a foundational piece of everything, and it's so under leveraged, our communication, our words, and how we use them. So when people learn how to best use words and communication skills, oh my gosh, your life just becomes so much easier as a leader, but just as a person. Right?
100%. I love that. Oh, love this. Okay. Maria, thank you for joining us. You are also in Pittsburgh, same as Merilee, right? And I know, Amy, you are too. Kind of a caveat over there in Maine today. So Maria, tell us about you.
Yes, thank you for having me as well. I'm so excited to be on today with this group of, I just love these women immensely. I am the founder of Work Rate Solutions. It's an HR consulting practice. We do fractional HR work as well as general HR consulting. And we also have a leadership program that we recently rolled out, which is focused on kind of bringing things back to basics, so to speak, in a way that is relatable and immediately actionable for leaders, because it certainly is a gap that we've seen with the leaders that we work with. So very excited to be here and talk about these topics.
Maria, I think that's amazing. One of the things that I share when talking with leaders as their coach and or therapist, sometimes both, right, is as adults, I firmly believe we would fail kindergarten, right? Because we overthink it. And we would get the worksheet and it would be, hey, color everything that starts with G green. And we would ask uppercase, lowercase, can I use any kind of green? I don't like these crayons. Can I go get marker? Like we would
overcomplicate it.
And it's amazing. And it's so funny because to your point, like people either get that or they don't. And you can kind of see their brain, just the gears grind a little bit. So, because we're so smart. We make everything complicated. And it's like, no, the exact opposite of that. So love what you're talking about with that. And everything that you all are doing here is so needed. And I believe too, that our world needs better leaders by title or deed on any given day and twice on Sunday. So with that, the question we ask every guest on our show is, in the conversations you're having today, what is the main topic you're seeing, hearing, and experiencing? Merilee, what are you seeing in your conversations?
Stress. Stress. I don't think that's a surprise, but more so than ever, people are stressed. Leaders are stressed. Business owners are stressed. Teams are stressed. Yeah. And so many things contribute to that, right? Just life in general, right? We're just trying to juggle so much, but specifically, right, that forever changing work landscape, the uncertainty, of course, of the state of the economy in the world right now more than ever. And also just that ever evolving, and you know this more than anything, beyond that ever evolving technology, right? The AI, right, which can be our best friend and also the thing that can send us into fear.
Yeah.
So there's just so much. And so in the work that I do, I'm incredibly passionate about the mindset, but specifically energy, because what we think about and what we focus on really does trigger what that energy is that we have within us, right? And so when we are stressed, right, that triggers us into fear, overwhelm, frustration, all of these things. And when that happens, it's almost like we have blinders on, right? It's really difficult for us to show up as our best version of ourselves, because we're just going to that fight, flight, freeze. I say appease, go along to get along, just to be able to deal and cope with that stress. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, then that definitely can impact obviously the practical and the tactical, or we're maybe really focusing on trying to just achieve those goals or trying to figure out what we're navigating and doing next. And then what suffers there is what we've been talking about at the beginning, is just overall the human connection, the human element that we know that is so mission critical. And at the end, I don't think it's of any ill intent. It's just, again, when we're stressed, we're on autopilot and we don't realize that can really kind of send us into that lower version of ourselves and really have a direct impact on the people we lead, the people that, we want to serve, and our overall just mental well-being and health.
Yeah. You just described my week. So it's been a challenge, and man, Merilee, I couldn't agree with you more on that. And I think that's really insightful. And, whatever your thoughts are on Disney, and Frozen, the first one, they call that out, right? When the trolls are singing and people make bad choices when they're scared or mad or stressed, right? And I think sometimes we dive down into that, like I call it the swirling vortex of emotion, because we can't find a way out and we're just stuck in the swirl. And man, it's everywhere right now. Amy, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's exhausting. I mean, even just I'm like feeling the exhaustion going down the spiral. Yeah, I think to Merilee's point with the stress, that pressure that we're all feeling, whether we're a leader of self, leader of others, we're all as humans feeling a lot of pressure, right? External pressure. So the fact is, right, the world is becoming increasingly inconsistent, unpredictable. Things are coming at us at a fast pace.
Yeah.
And that kind of pressure creates stress. And stress, when we're under stress, our derailers come out, right?
Yes.
So that dark side stuff that we don't have the energy to control kind of starts eking out.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I am constantly, I coach a lot of business owners, small and medium-sized business owners, companies. And what I hear a lot of is blame.
Yes.
In the sense of the generational labels. It drives me bananas. So I hear a lot of complaints about, millennials have no work ethic, or they're lazy, or, Gen Xers are difficult because they were, they grew up on XYZ. And it's like, no, people are all incredibly different humans.
Yeah.
And to slap to make an excuse via a generational label is like, it's like getting up in the morning and blaming the mirror on your bed head. Like, it's like, no, you got to look into it's you. In reality, it's your communication style that needs to be adjusted. It's your approach to leadership that needs to be adjusted. And there are adjustments. Like, you can't control all this other stuff. You can control yourself.
Yeah.
And that kind of personal accountability as a leader, I think it's hard because we're under a lot of pressure, but it's so important to focus on what you can control, because that leads to building trust, which is all about human relationships and what makes things work. So there's that.
Yeah, I think that I love everything you just said. That what really, there was a lot that resonated. I think that the concept of personal accountability has flown out the window. I'm not sure when it flew out the window, but this notion of, I want my life to work like my iPhone, and I just want to swipe right, and I want everything to be easy. Right? It just doesn't work that way. Like, I feel like the entire world is behaving like my 15-year-old daughter, now 16, where like we're eking her towards this adulthood, and there's definitely a stiff arm to it. It's also different now than it was when we were growing up, right? Like, it's more stuff to manage, and I get it, but this is life. You know what I mean? And to your point, like, communication is bidirectional, and it is personal accountability at the end of the day, and nobody is coming to save you. Like, that's heaven. This is earth, and it's broken. So how do we maintain a sense of humor? How do we have connection? So I agree. And I say that, like, I do too. Like, I get just as angry at the person who cuts me off when I'm busy. I'm like, man, drive with purpose. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't like that about me either. So it's like, Maria, what are your thoughts on kind of what you're hearing and seeing in reaction to what Merilee and Amy are talking about?
There's so much overlap in terms of what we're seeing. It's been interesting to me in the companies that we're working with to see the level of distrust that is happening. It feels like it's at a level that we've not seen before. Wow. And I really think it's related to what we're talking about here, which is we're really seeing new levels of fear unlocked, perception of lack of control. And one thing feeds off of the other, and I think a lot of times when we get into that spiral, we get into this victim mentality.
Yes.
And we tend to either lash out, or we kind of go internal and internalize the struggles that we're having. We stop communicating altogether. We don't know what to say or when to say it.
Yeah.
Or on the other side of that, we're saying the wrong things and we're exhibiting bad behavior. And so I think it's
middle ground. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's all related, and we all can relate to it because we're dealing with it in our daily lives. It's not just about leaders, but it certainly, seeps into leadership in the workplace. So certainly
Yeah.
what we're seeing a lot of today.
It's so good. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think there's so much ground that's been covered already in our conversation today. And Merilee, how are you seeing companies successfully address this, if at all?
Yeah, I would say that I'm excited to see that that they're starting to, right?
Yes.
And I would say it's the organizations, it's the company. I like to say the higher conscious companies, the human centered, the growth minded companies that realize and see the vital importance of the human element and how important that is, not just to retain employees, but they honestly genuinely believe that, right? It's in their values and they're real. In fact, I just did some work this past year and just even this year as well it was actually a tech company, and it's their go-to-market teams, and they recognize I do a whole thing around disrupting stress and drama in the workplace and giving some practical tactical tools around that, again taking us back to our self-leadership. For us to show up externally, right, we have to be able to manage what's going on in our own head. And so I do get excited about the organizations who really take that to heart and are willing to invest in that for their people, right? So it's the leadership development, it's the giving them some programs on how to truly manage stress.
Yep.
All of those things. Yeah, so that is what I've experienced. Now, not everybody, not all, and I do sometimes when I get called in somewhere, I'll be like, okay, are you just coming in to check it off the box, right?
Correct.
Or do you genuinely believe in this, and are you willing to take some guidance on how to sustain this within the organization?
Yeah. Amen to that, right? It's easy this is not an easy fix. And I think that's the thing, right? There's no popping a pill here. Like, we're talking about, in some cases, some deep work, right? That you need to kind of be able to get to a point where we're not down in the craziness of our own thoughts.
Yeah. And two other real quick things on that is they also see that life doesn't end at work, right? It's truly that work-life integration, right? And they're seeing that if we're going to give our employees tools to be successful, it's not just at work, but it's across all aspects of their life. And the last thing I'll say, and Amy and Maria have heard me on this one, but it's truly the work I do is around emotional agility. It's not pretending shiz doesn't happen and that it's not stressful and saying it's fine, I'm fine, or we're going to, like Maria said, we're not going to have the conversations, we're going to ignore them, right? And when we keep pushing those things down, it's like the classic beach ball underneath the water, right? Those things are going to bubble back up if we are doing that forced positivity. It's all about honoring what truly is going on, empower acceptance. Okay, that just happened, that didn't go well, or this change is coming. Let's take a step back to what Amy said. Also, let's focus on, right, that's where we go back to our locus of control, our inner leader of what is it we can control right now in the moment, right? And that's where we start to regain that sense of energy for ourselves and also for others, and also modeling that for others.
Yeah. Amen to all of that, Merilee, right? It's not that things don't happen. It's what we do about it at the end of the day. Do we have a problem or do we have a project? And I think, sometimes when we're in the middle of it, we don't see that. It's like, you guys, the things and I say this to myself. I'm like, okay, I'm not in the middle of a war zone. Like this isn't life or death right now. Like, what is happening? We've gotten to the point where we think like we're crushed under what we think is so bad or good. And it's like, whoa, like we have a lot of first world problems. Like, let's just be happy about that. Let's just start there, right? Because nothing is that bad here. Right. So 9 times out of 10, I don't want to minimize either. Right. Like, but that's the point. It's like, everybody's like, well, you're not validating my feelings. You're right, because you're being silly. Like, you're 55 years old, not 5. So sorry, like that. And that's where I get myself into trouble. So Amy, like, what are you like? Sometimes that's the therapy people need, where it's like, quit whining and pull up your pants and go to work, for the love of God.
You just did a perfect tee up for Amy on that one.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's so funny. Like, because that's what we want to say. That's what we want to say, right? So it's funny because so Maria and I and Merilee all met pretty much at this Disrupt HR conference, right? Where you get up and speak for 5 minutes, and your slides are changing, and you have a disruptive topic in human resources type thing. So my thing was communication therapy for leaders, but it was just shut up and do your damn job and other things that we wish we could say to employees, right? So that's how you're feeling, and you want to be authentic, because that's big with like trust. You should be, transparent, but it's, appropriate disclosure, right? So so going back to, there's no overall easy fix,
No.
right? Life is complicated. Humans are complicated. We're all looking for like this step-by-step process and the single answer to everything. And I'm one of those people. And so like what I concentrated on when I started, when I went out on my own and I was creating my own development, my own leadership development programs, I had a lot of experience in corporate communications and employee engagement research and leadership behavior assessment. And I put all that together and distilled it down to make it as easy as possible for me, but to share it. Like, you've probably heard a lot about, like, if you're in the leadership world, right? You hear about emotional intelligence and EQ and empathy and all these things that a lot of more traditional leaders are like, ew, drama, like emotional, ew, cringe, right? But leaders today have to get a grip on the importance of emotional. Doesn't mean cry and sob and laugh and sing. It's like psychological, right? So it's like you have to, leadership is psychological. Working with people and getting work done for other people is a psychological experience.
100%.
Right? So it's personal and it's practical. And I think all of us on here today have really worked hard to, you mentioned we're not here to save you. We actually are here to help save you, because we've all been through like research experience, applied research, that we've seen the difference it makes when there are these simple things that you can do that make such a difference. The words that you say, the pause, just simply yourself to pause in the moment. It takes 2 seconds to take a deep breath like that. Even just that is something, right? So, I mean, obviously we get more into, frameworks and ways to address things, but even the simple things are impactful.
Yeah. Amen to that, right? It's the small nightlight that makes sure I don't fall down the stairs and break my leg, and it's not the big chandelier. So
there you go.
Small things make big impacts. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Maria, how about you? How are you seeing folks kind of address the stress that's going on right now?
Well, I think to Merilee's point, the thing that I find most helpful and encouraging is companies are reaching out for help. And sure, it's not all of the companies that we wish would reach out for help, but definitely they are. They recognize that there's an issue. They recognize they're not equipped to deal with it on their own, and they're looking to, folks like us here in the call to help them out. I'm a huge proponent on focusing on openness to feedback and the power of curiosity. And so, in our program, those are the two things that we start with, and those are themes throughout the entire program, because without those two, it's really hard to make change. And so, I think having companies that have that openness to feedback, that curiosity around what is it that we can do to improve? Can you help us? To me is encouraging. And so, I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And so, Maria, we'll kind of reverse our course here. Where can people find you? What should they do next?
I, of course, am on LinkedIn, so they can find me on LinkedIn. If they'd like to reach out by email, simply you can email me at hello@workgreatsolutions.com or visit our website.
I love it. Thank you so much. Amy, how about you?
Well, I can be reached on LinkedIn as well, Amy Hooper Hanna. I also have a company LinkedIn page for AHA. And my website is aha-consulting.com. And my email is ahacorp@gmail.com. And I'll just add too that one of the things that I have found leaders to be really interested in is as far as making things easy and simple, and we're under pressure and people don't have time. And there's always the excuse of like, I don't have the budget. I don't have the time to do coaching or to have a therapist, right? But micro coaching sessions, like getting a series of micro coaching, and I'm sure all of us on this call would be proponents of for accountability. You do need some kind of ongoing support. Ideally, it comes in all different forms and fashions, but that kind of ongoing intermittent support is really, really important. So we try to make it as easy as possible to make that happen. So I'll add that. And I just want to tack on to Maria's point, and I'm sure Merilee would agree. The curiosity piece, like one of the hugest things that is so easy to do is ask more questions coming from that curious mindset and actually trying to understand. I see so many leaders make assumptions on what someone is thinking, feeling, doing, and why they're doing it. And all they have to do, and then they make poor decisions and they react to the wrong thing.
Yeah, we've all done
questions. What's getting in your way? Why is this happening? What can you tell me about this? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Oh my gosh, it's so simple. It doesn't take that long. So anyway.
But, you know, people are important and we have things to do. So I'm just going to make decisions. Right. And so, and we all, yeah. And I know, so Reacher is the #1 show. If anybody's interested right now, I love the Reacher show. I'm a huge fan. And when he's talking that first season where he's like, assumptions kill, right? Like in that scenario, yes, you might die. For those of us in corporate America, chances are not so much. Right. So, but yeah, like assumptions can really damage relationships, right?
It kills the spirit. It kills people's personal spirit. Yeah,
right.
Ultimately. So
yeah, pressure test. Merilee, how about you? Where can people find you?
Well, I would just say real quick that we teach this stuff when we believe it and we're human. So I made an assumption this week that put me on all sorts of fun communication in my personal life. So we are human. You can definitely find me on LinkedIn as well. My company, I have a company page, my personal page, Spark with Merilee, sparkwithmerilee.com is my website. And I'm excited because I'm launching on Monday a series of over the next course of a couple of weeks called The Voices of Your Inner Board. So when we think about, whenever curiosity, and I have Ted Lasso in my office, he's standing there. Ditch judgment, curiosity. But truly, we have these inner board members in our head, right? Just like the movie Pixar, right? We have these inner board members and they're around a conference table. And so when judgment speaks up, that's when that can shut down that curiosity because we are all about judging about that what they're saying is not right. It's not my way, right? So we're already thinking about how we're going to respond or what we're going to do, right? As opposed to if we listen to our inner board member of opportunity, we're going to step in and let go of those assumptions and lean into the conversation and really listen and be present. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be a little snippet that comes out on Monday and then followed up with a reel later in the week on each inner board member. So I'm excited about that.
I think that sounds amazing. All three of these amazing leaders and that are ladies, right, have amazing things to offer for everybody here. So if you are curious about getting your leadership team geared up and equipped to lead more effectively, to increase the trust in your organization, these are the folks that you want to talk with at the end of the day. According to Gallup, about 23% of our teams actually are engaged and trust leadership. That means what? 77% don't. The cost of a disengaged employee, according to McKinsey, is 40% of that person's salary. We have a math problem, people, that can be solved by addressing our people problems. So now is the time to take action. And we here, Revenue by Design, we're doing a workshop in Orange County on May 1st for startup founders and folks that are just new in their business. And it's starting a business in the age of AI while still being human. Join us for that workshop on May 1st. We'll put links in the comments here on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining today. This was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks, everybody. Make it a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing everybody soon.